All right, I'll start off stating the obvious. Obviously, a very disappointing season. Didn't go the way we wanted it to go. I hate it for our fans. I hate it for our players. You know, it wasn't good enough. Bottom line, 500 in this league is not good enough. And I'm honored to be the head coach here and privileged to be the head coach here. And I'm going to do everything in my power and work tirelessly to get this thing fixed this offseason so we can get over the hump and get into the postseason. So with that, ready when you guys are.
Shane, when you look back at this season, really throughout the first 3 years of your tenure, why do you think this team hasn't been able to win late in the season? I know we asked it before, but just, 9-17 in December, January.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a deep study of mine this offseason for sure. I think it's a mindset. I think it's a belief, too, that every time you step on that practice field, and it starts with me, and possibly looking into even more like in the game situations. We do them. I need to probably do them more to put those guys in position to be successful, when those situations occur. So that's going to be something I'm going to look at deep, obviously, because you got to be great in November and December, and we weren't good enough this year.
Shane, whenever you guys have this plan moving forward, you've kind of given us indication that Daniel Jones is part of those plans. Is that right? And how do you see him being part of this team going forward?
Yeah, obviously, what Daniel did for us before the injury was phenomenal. So those are conversations that I'm sure will take place with myself and Chris and Daniel, as we go through that process.
Do you think he wants to be back?
I believe so. He was playing really good football for us before the injury. So obviously, like I said, we'll have those conversations.
How do you handle the decision given that he's rehabbing an injury, just from the injury standpoint?
Yeah, I think you talk to the medical doctors and see how the rehab process is going to go. But I do know he's going to attack the rehab process the right way. I have no doubts about that. Like I said, he's already been in he's still in all the meetings. Obviously, rehabbing as much as he can. He's really just resting it right now. But he's been going about it the right way.
Given the nature of that injury, do you at least have to approach it conservatively, just in terms of like due diligence?
Yeah, there's no question. Obviously, you got to do your research on it. But just from what we've gathered, just in a short time, obviously feel good about his rehab process moving forward.
The way Riley played yesterday, does it make you second guess at all the decision to go with Phillip instead of Riley down the stretch?
No, I think it was a great learning experience for Riley to be around Phillip. And then obviously what Riley did yesterday was invaluable experience too, to grow and learn. But it was very encouraging the way he played yesterday. He did a lot of good things for us.
Given Daniel's injury history, if he is brought back, do you have to have other contingency plans built in place?
Yeah, those are all conversations that'll take place, in the offseason, James.
There has been some question about like when you did bring Phillip in, had Riley played, obviously he could have gotten that experience. I don't know how when you made that calculation, I guess, looking back at it, did you miss anything?
Yeah, I think the reason we brought Phillip in too is because Riley had a knee at that moment. So it was, hey, we need to do something. And so when we brought Phillip in, obviously we didn't bring Phillip in to sit on the bench. And again, that experience with Phillip being here, I think, was great for everybody involved. The team, the offense, just having his veteran leadership was huge.
So you'd approach it the same if you had to do it over again, actually.
Yeah.
Shane, during your tenure, you go 25-26, and you were 7-22 against winning teams. Why, not having success against teams that are good?
Yeah, that's not good enough is the bottom line. And I got to find the answers to that for sure because we got to get over the hump. Like I said, 500 is not good enough in this league. You got to get over the hump. You got to get your butt in the postseason. And we got to find ways to do that, win the tight games, do a better job of that, putting the guys in position, training camp, practice, whatever it is to get over that hump.
Those late game situations, I know we've asked you about it because they've come up a lot for the last chunk of the year. Where does that come down to execution? Is that some player stuff? Is that, like you said, working on some different things in practice? How do you plan to attack that stuff?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's going to be a deep dive study for me. We know this league. You look around the league. You saw a game last night that came down to a field goal. That's what this league is. It's going to come down to that. Like I said, it's going to be a play there, a play here, a call there, a call here to get that thing done. And I think, again, it's that belief that, hey, we're going to find a way to win this game no matter what the circumstances are. And, that's what I got to do a good job of coming up is instilling that belief I think the guys do believe, but I think it's just got to be a little bit more. It's got to be a little bit more to get over the hump.
Not just losing a couple of those here and there, but I think 5 of those 7 losses you guys at the end of the year have been those one-score games. Is that maybe more concerning than just kind of having those sprinkled throughout the year, having a string of those? I mean, so that you feel like this team is continuing to fight.
Yeah, that's the one thing I will say about this team is that it could have been easy to just fall down and bow. Like our guys were in the games, we were battling like crazy, and obviously we fell up short. And like I said, we got to find ways to win those games. We have to.
Shane, I assume you talked to the team already this morning. What did you share with them?
Yeah, basically what I'm sharing with you guys, pretty much. Like, 500 is not good enough, and I'm going to work tirelessly to try to figure that out and get it fixed, for these guys moving forward, because they deserve that. This city deserves that. The fans deserve it, and we got to be better. Bottom line.
This time last year, one of the big themes in the offseason was complacency and making guys uncomfortable and raising the competition level. Do you feel like that improved through the year? Is it something you guys still need to address?
Yeah, I did. I think every year, you guys heard me say this, but every year is a new year. I mean, not all the same faces are going to be in this building. That's the business we're in. And so that camaraderie, that commitment to each other, you got to rebuild that every single year. That starts in the offseason, moving into training camp and into the season.
How do you balance having so many key players get hurt down the stretch versus the sting of 7 straight losses?
Yeah, I think I've learned in this league, being in this league for 16 years, that injuries are part of it. We all know that. And you got to find a way to overcome those injuries. As a coaching staff, as players, whatever it is, we always say next man up. It's a cliche in the coaching world, but it is the truth. The next guy up's got to show up and play. And as coaches, we got to put them in position to go be successful.
Shane, there seems to be like a lot of questions on defense down the stretch. I mean, how much scrutiny does that side of the ball deserve right now, and how deep do you have to dive and get that?
Well, we'll dive into everything, but it's the ultimate team game. I'm never going to put it on one side of the football, whether it's offense, defense, or special teams. It's all of us. We're in this thing together, and everything's got to improve and get better. That's the bottom line.
How
With all
close?
the personnel decisions you got to do, as you stand here today, do you see a role for Anthony Richardson next year?
Like we'll see, I mean, the biggest thing is the eye limitations. That's got to get healthy, and those are conversations that will take place, Chap, in the future.
How close or not close do you think this team is being 8-2 and finishing 8-2?
Yeah, I think that's a loaded question. It's like, what do you mean close? Like, is it Super Bowl close, or is it playoff close, a division champion?
Do you think you have a good team?
I do think we have a good team. I think we've shown that early in the season, but it wasn't good enough to end the season. You know what I mean? It wasn't. That's the bottom line. And so we got to find a way to get over the hump to get into the postseason.
Everybody's disappointed, obviously, in the finish, right? I mean, certainly had a chance, and as you see all around the league, and as I experienced for 17 years, sometimes you find a way to make those plays to get in, and sometimes you don't. And unfortunately, we couldn't do that. But it was a real thankful to have been a part of it the last 4 weeks. Guys have been great, and they fought till the end. I think that's one thing that I've always thought you can hang your hat on, culture-wise, and is how do the guys do when you are eliminated, and how do they play, and with that energy and effort. Because I think that says a lot about the whole building, and I think that was evident. The guys kept putting it on the line and gave it all they had, and just wasn't enough.
There was a report that you would possibly consider being an NFL head coach. Is that true, or how would you approach that question if you get asked?
Well, I think, there's been nothing. There's nothing of concrete with that. I think if anything, this past month has taught me is, you just kind of you're open, obviously, to anything, I guess, and then you go from there. But I'm looking forward to going back home and getting back with those guys, getting back with my family, and Gunner's senior season coming up, and we've been back-to-back semifinals, and hopefully we can get over the hump this year. But so I don't have any of those things on my radar, but certainly it's nothing that I would shut down before it even became a possibility.
You have so much respect for this organization. Would you entertain an opportunity, and hearing Riley talk about all these players, how much you've poured into them, to maybe come back and maybe be a part of this staff? Would you entertain something like that?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think all those are all big what ifs. I do think that as humbly as I can say it, that I could coach at this level, and I know enough about the game and about the guys, and from a leadership standpoint, camaraderie, all that comes with it. But again, that's not something that I'm sitting here pursuing. I really, like I said, if anything I learned the last 4 weeks is you take it one day at a time, because there was a Sunday afternoon, I had no thought of being in Indianapolis the next day, and then 24 hours later I was here, and I've been here a month exactly, or 4 weeks exactly today. So you just kind of just go, take it one day at a time, be where you are, and go from there.
Just to clarify, is it fair to say you haven't been approached about this?
I have not. No, I have not yet.
Philip, did Riley prove anything to you yesterday?
Well, I think, again, this isn't me off of one performance saying "told you so" or anything like that. Not that y'all had any doubt, but I think he's a double-digit guy quarterback in this league. And again, I don't want to put a ceiling on what that looks like for him in terms of starting, backing up, and all those things. He's a young player that worked his tail off this year. He's got a great support staff here. Obviously, and Daniel's been great for him, and I think the coaching staff offensively is excellent. So he's going to continue to improve and get better. But I think he showed yesterday, which is the guy's won a lot of football games in college. He competes at a high level, and he did a lot of good things yesterday in the game.
Being on this team for the last 4 weeks, I know it was a team that wasn't at full strength, but what do you feel like this team needs to take the next step and try to get over this hump and get back in the playoffs like you guys were in 2020?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not here to give my analysis or on the whole deal. Shoot, I was one of the guys, fighting like crazy to try to get us in. But I think again, y'all know my respect for Frank, so I'm giving another Frank quote. But a man of wisdom avoids all extreme. And so. Had we found a way to get in, right, and we were playing next week, everybody would be all positive about everything. You don't find a way, and then it's like, oh, shoot, what are we going to do now to get over the hump? I mean, again, so I don't know. Those decisions are above me, obviously, but I know that you got a lot of guys that want to do what's best for this place, that are in charge, and that are going to, do the best they think to get over the hump. And I think the locker room will obviously change. It always does. No team is the same back-to-back years. So, but yeah, it's just a small margin, right? A small margin of error. I mean, you look at Baltimore and Pittsburgh yesterday. I mean, one team makes a kick, and the whole thing's flipped.
I'd love to be back here. I've enjoyed being here, working with the coaching staff here, with the players. I think it's a great organization, and I've enjoyed being here. So obviously there's a business side to it, and understand that, but I've really enjoyed being here around these people.
Based on what you've been told, when do you think you'll be able to come back?
I mean, I think obviously it's a long it's a long process in the recovery, and there's a time frame to it. You got to check a lot of boxes along the way, but I expect to be ready to go by training camp, and so we'll attack the process and make sure I'm ready to go.
It used to be. Have you taken anything from Aaron Rodgers' experience, and have you guys had a chance to talk at all? Or?
I spoke to him actually the day I tore it in Jacksonville, and he was really helpful. He had a little bit different surgery, I think, and his recovery was a little bit different than mine, but very helpful, and appreciate his willingness to offer some advice.
How would you evaluate your season? Obviously ended with injury, but being an 82 at one point.
I mean, I think we did some good things early in the season, and we're able to get into a rhythm there for a little bit, but we didn't do enough ultimately, and you look back at those games where it didn't go as well as it could have, or you could have done a little bit more to finish it, especially there at the end. I think about the Houston, the Kansas City game and some of those situations. But, I think, like I said, I really enjoyed being here. I think it's a really good team, a good locker room, and good coaching staff.
What do you think worked so well for you and Shane together, just as a partnership?
I think just the communication and getting on the same page throughout the week. Understanding what he wants, what he expects from the quarterback, and I'd say just the communication time we spent together throughout the week preparing.
Was there ever a point personally, right after the Achilles injury that you had to just deal with the frustration of not being able to finish the season?
Yeah, I think that's kind of, constant process. I think obviously frustrated right when it happens and you lose that chance. And then, it's tough watching football and not being able to play. But it's part of it. Injuries are part of the game. And, you got to be able to handle it and keep going.
Riley speaks so highly about you. What did you think of his performance yesterday in Texas?
I thought he played well. I thought he played really well. His first start against a really good defense. I know in the second half they made some subs, but for a lot of the game was really good players, and he was out there, executing, making a lot of big plays, and it was fun to watch him. I was happy for him.
What do you think you gained from this 1 year in Indianapolis? Obviously, a lot of questions about your play and who you are as a player coming into that year.
I don't know. I think I've learned a lot. I think, just being around these coaches, being in this system, learning from Shane, learning from everybody here. Very, very grateful and appreciative of everyone and the experience here. I think you're always learning, you're always growing, and trying to, progress and build your, football understanding, your football expertise, and ability as a quarterback.
I know you were always going to have a great relationship. For you personally, and I know things can change when our free agency is, but how important is it for you to figure out a way with your agent and just the coach here to try to get back here next year?
Like I said, I'd love to be back. I think there's a business side to it all, like I said, and I really, I think the organization here, top down, is first class, and I think the Ursays, I think Chris, Shane, everybody here, I've really enjoyed working with. So, we'll see. I'll let my agents and representation handle, those conversations. But I really enjoyed being here.
I know you wanted to play through it. But do you think the fractured fibula at all played a role in the Achilles?
I don't think there's any way of really knowing. I think you can drive yourself crazy thinking about it, but at the end of the day, I was going to play, and I would do it again. I think that's there's no real way of knowing, and we've got great doctors, great trainers here, and I was good to play. I was going to play, no question about it.
I mean, it's been great. It's great to hear that. I'm just looking forward to next year. Like they've been saying, we got to get over the hump, and I'm just blessed to be able to be a big part of that.
Yeah, and how's your recovery going? I mean, I know you're trying to take it day by day, but how's your process going right now?
I feel like it's going well. I really feel like the Chiefs game, playing 96 plays, probably just had my calves tired or something like that. But I'm gonna be good, so it's not nothing to worry about for real.
Yeah, and defensively, how do you feel about the group of guys around you? I mean, how big of an impact can you have with this group of guys here for next year?
Huge impact. The guys around me, they communicate a lot. They play fast, violent, physical. That's what we need. So, yeah.
Beat my brain up, the more it'll affect me as I get older. So, I got a lot of life to live out of football. I got to think about my family and kids too. So, we'll see. Got some decisions to make for sure.
So just to clarify, you're not sure if you'll come back next year?
I don't know. I got to talk to my family. If I be working out, if I bump my head on something this offseason, hopefully I don't do that and I get a headache from just like something small like that. It's going to be something to think about because I did hit my head like a few days ago and I got a crazy headache. So, we'll just see how it go. I'm not trying to be dealing with migraines and headaches for the rest of my life.
What did you get out of this season?
What did I get out of this season? What do you mean by that?
Well, obviously it didn't go how anyone planned for the team, for you. You had to be sidelined for quite a bit, but the experience of being here, what did you take away from it?
It's a cool team. I think we got a lot of talent. I think it kind of motivated me a little bit because I ain't come in and ball how I expected the ball, just dealing with the concussions and not being healthy. So I'm definitely motivated to get better and potentially, be the best Mooney I can be for next season, depending on if I come back and play or not, for sure. Did I have headaches, concussions? Kind of like an unlucky thing when I ran into the tree. That boy big, he a big boy, he caught me off guard. And that was a scary sight. So once that happened, I was dealing with a lot of stuff, a lot of symptoms for the remainder of the season. Even when I came back, those couple games, still was fighting through it. But yeah, we'll see how it go. Hopefully my brain be good these next 6 months so I can come back and ball next year.
I mean, you love football. You can't do this at this level without loving football, right? So, I mean,
Facts, yeah.
How complicated is this, like, a game that you love, but also having to think about, your loved ones?
I mean, I'd have had a great career so far. I'm proud of the career I had. I'd have made a lot of money. I feel like I'm taking care of my family, taking care of. So, I mean, if I come back or I don't come back, I'm still be able to live the life I want to live and be happy. I think that's the most important thing, being happy, because this football is just a game, it goes away. So I'm more worried about being a good dad to my kids and a good man to my family, So I think that's the most important thing in my life right now.
When do you want to have that decision made when it comes to whether you want to play or not, when it gets to the off-season time?
I feel like I got to make it ASAP because, got to let the team know the team building. So, yeah, I'm going to talk to my agent, my girl, my fiance, just my mom. I told you my dad already told me to retire, but I don't know if I'm listening to him. But just talk to my family, just see how I feel about everything.
When you hear, I know Steven mentioned about how you got to really love it to be out there. How tough a decision will it be? I mean, how much is it, on your mind and knowing that, this decision has more to do with just you, your family as well as you mentioned?
Like I said, if I walk away, I feel like I'll be happy. I don't won a Super Bowl, played in multiple Super Bowls, made hella money. I made Pro Bowl, made All Pro. I did everything I wanted to do. So I feel like if I walk away, I won't regret it. I'll be good. Playing or not, I'll be good.
Yeah, I think we got off to a really good start. I think the biggest thing, though, is like for a quarterback, the biggest stat you have is wins and losses. So 0-1 as a starter at the end of the day. It doesn't matter if I threw for a bunch of yards or no yards at all. I think you look back at the game and there's a lot of good, a lot of bad, but ended with a loss. So hopefully when those situations come up in the fourth quarter in the future, I'll have more experience and be able to pull through with a win.
How valuable is having some film to go into the offseason? I mean, other than just preseason, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. I don't know what it's like for sixth-round rookie quarterbacks in the past, but, I don't know if they normally get opportunities or what, but I know that this was a huge opportunity for me and a huge momentum boost going into the offseason. And it could have gone a lot of ways, whether, it was really bad, you're probably, overthinking a little bit if, the worst possibilities. But, I think it went well enough to give me the confidence to go in this offseason and attack it with the right mindset.
Yeah, that being said, you didn't get the win, but you did some good things out there, and a lot of your teammates saw the good as well. What does that do for you, knowing that you can play in this league?
Yeah, it does a lot. I mean, Baker Mayfield said once that negative thoughts are undefeated. And when you haven't played, I think those negative thoughts can creep into your mind and the what if. But I challenged myself to go into the mindset, go into the game thinking like even if. So like even if, this goes poorly, I'll still be all right. And, even if I throw for a bunch of yards or win the game, we're still going to wake up the next day and go back to work. So, yeah, I think it's huge. And yeah, there are some good things I did. I mean, those guys were wide open at the end of the day. Those throws weren't necessarily super hard throws. Coaches did an outstanding job scheming them up, and we had a good idea what they were going to be playing when they were going to be playing it, and they really called great plays. And our guys went out there and executed. Felt like I had a clean pocket all day. And I can do a better job in the pocket on a couple plays looking back. But, I mean, the other 10 guys made me look, really good.
What can you take away from the experience of being in command of this offense Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday before games?
Yeah. I mean, that's probably the biggest thing, as a quarterback when you go in against Jacksonville, having no reps with the guys ever, right? And that's not something that I'm complaining about. That's the nature of this league. Like, I didn't know that coming in. I remember thinking, the 2 gets no reps, and it's a little bit shocking. But the NFL doesn't have numbers like they do in college. In college, the 2 gets reps in the offense, pretty much just the same amount as the 1, besides walkthroughs. And in the NFL, it's different. But to have those few practices meant the world to me. Have those conversations about where I want guys to be when I want them to be there, and I didn't try to give my opinion too much, honestly. It was more, hey, how can I help you? Alec, if you're running a post against quarters, like, how can I help you? What do you want to do? Where do you want this landmark to be? I think that's a better approach as a rookie than to try to tell people where to go and when to go. That wouldn't be too good.
I asked Phillip Rivers, I said, would you entertain the possibility of maybe coming back being part of this staff? He didn't say no.
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't say no. But that being said, I mean, would you entertain something? What would that mean to you to have someone like him around here with you guys next year, possibly?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, Phillip, obviously, he's the man. Everybody loves Phillip. He's, been so much to me, meant so much to me these last few weeks. I've learned probably more from him than I could have ever imagined. And a lot of that stuff is the intangibles, the off-the-field stuff. And then the on-the-field stuff, shoot. He's just dialed. He's I don't know, something over like 200 starts in a row or something like that. He's seen it all. He's seen the evolution of defenses. He understands defensive coordinators and their play calling tendencies. It's really cool to see. Helped us a lot. Helped me a lot with the game plan this week. So I'd love to have him around more. But yeah, I think all the coaches on our staff, from Cam Turner, QB coach, to Coach Jim Bob and Shane, everybody around us, Coach Tanny, everybody's just doing an outstanding job, helping me prepare. So to add another friendly guy around who's always looking out for us quarterbacks would be awesome.
There is going to be consistency here as a rookie going into your second year. How valuable is that for you?
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I think we had a great system that we had in place, and to have a second year where you don't have to come back in and be a first year in a offense and learn everything again will be big. So that's a huge part, I think, in the second year.
Tyler, at any point did your body say, "Hey, I've played my season, the rookie wall," or is that just BS?
I feel like just football in general, you're always going to hit a wall at some point with how your body's feeling and the physicality of it. But everybody's playing the same schedule and same season, so it's really just part of the game, and that's just how it is.
Tyler, I know it's still early, but as you reflect on your first year, what's your takeaway? Just your play and just being around this entire team this season.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of guys to learn from this locker room. So that was cool to be able to play with these guys, and I think I did some good, did some bad. I think it would be a big learning experience for me this off season, and making sure I don't make the same mistakes twice when I come back and get a chance that second year.
The continuity, I know, is important. You had such a great connection with DJ. How important is it to have him back in this locker room next year with you guys?
Yeah, I think just before even as a football player, just as a guy in this locker room, he's great to have around and makes guys around him better, on and off the field. And then he was obviously a really good quarterback and had a lot of good connections with a lot of guys here. So I think it would be huge that keeping him around.
Second half of the year, I know it seemed like maybe just a little bit more difficult to continue the run that you were on to start the season. Some of that comes with just different quarterbacks coming in, defenses looking at you guys different. How would you characterize how that second half of the season went? And were you getting different looks or being played different?
I think there's a lot of things that it was slower than how I started. I get numbers wise, but it's really just sometimes that, especially with the tight end position, that can how it can go. When you're doing a lot of different stuff, and we did have some changes at quarterback and some injuries and stuff, but everybody deals with that. So I think it's just me making sure I get better at some things I could have done better during that stretch and come back next year better.
What's the focus in your off season in terms of like the areas you want?
Z, you've experienced the highs and lows of this organization. Now with Carly at the helm, what gives you confidence in the vision she has, the direction that she's taking the organization?
Carly, she does the work. She's in the weeds. She's in the building. I think, she's in a unique position to understand, just the different factors, the different dynamics at play, and, make a more educated educated decision that way. So, obviously, always appreciate who she is, and behind her 100%.
See, how would you evaluate your season individually?
My season individually, I feel like coming in this year, you know, I felt like my focus was really on, you know, being a better leader and, you know, trying to help, you know, unite the team and you know, try to be the guy that the team could lean on. So I feel like just from that standpoint, you know, it was a lot of things that was done throughout the season, you know, that I tried to do to help make sure that the guys was close, help making sure that, you know, we were a team that believed and played for each other. On the field, I would say, you know, I felt like, you know, just my whole thing was on winning. And, you know, I wanted to be a player that made plays when the team needed it. And, you know, I felt like there was times I was able to do that and there times I wasn't. So obviously we're going to go back and watch it all. And I'm going to be extremely critical of myself and, you know, continue to work to get better and be the better player that I can be. But, you know, definitely, you know, some encouraging things in my opinion.
Defensively, what do you think? Well, there's obviously room for growth defensively. What did you make of the way the defense kind of finished, I guess, this year?
I mean, it's tough. It's disappointing. You know, obviously wish we could have got that one last night. You know, I just felt like, you know, year one in the system, and you know, I think it's just is room for improvement. Like I said, I'm gonna look at it. I'm gonna start with myself, but you know, missing some critical components. But at the end of the day, we gotta execute and put ourselves in position to win. You know, I feel like in this league, shootouts happen. You know, there are situations where, but at the end of the day, when you got an opportunity to make a play or get a stop to help the team win a game, that's the most important. So just got to be better in those critical situations.
I mean, you know this, like there's a veteran core on this defense. It's been there for a while. You know, those things do run their course, and at some point, you know, there are changes. Do you feel like you guys should kind of, do you feel like keeping that intact could be helpful, or do you feel like you expect changes, I guess?
You know, in this league, you know, I've learned to expect the unexpected. And obviously those decisions are above me. What I will say is, you know, a lot of guys that we've been here with, and you know, we played some great ball and made some great plays at the time, but you know, have come up short the last few years. You know, we're all judged by wins and losses and getting into the playoffs, and we haven't done that. Just understand that's the nature of the business, but you know, definitely appreciate the guys and everything that we've given to each other, knowing that we play for each other, and we just got to continue, you know, to grow.
Within that, do you worry about your future though? We were talking to Pittman about it, other players, and just knowing that whether you're under contract or not, there's not always a certainty that you will be brought back, other players will be brought back when changes are going to be made.
You know, I feel like, to be honest with you, you know, I think you just have to focus on, you know, the things that you can control, you know. You know, only the things I can control is the impact I have in the locker room, you know, my play on the field. I can't necessarily control, you know, decisions that are above me. You know, honestly, you know, you put those things in God's hands and just understand that as long as you continue to work hard and grow as a person, as a player, as a leader, regardless, you'll be okay in those circumstances. So.
Just across the locker room, we've had a lot of good people and players to really connect with. One of the things that I came in trying to emphasize this year was staying in the moment, being present, and the people that I brush shoulders with each day, I just wanted to, you know, get to know certain people, whether it's in football or other departments around this organization. I just wanted to grow closer to. So it's been cool knowing the people here in the building across the organization, and it's been good building.
And one of the things about, you know, the NFL is gaining experience, and you know, you don't want injuries to happen, but in this room, especially in the quarterback room, a lot of young guys got some meaningful reps. How beneficial is that for this team moving forward?
Good. Sometimes, you know, in the secondaries, you know, you don't know what you don't know. So whether it's play recognition or formations or, you know, the people that you're going against or the certain guys that teams, the offense has in in their play style. You know, whether it's a guy that moves the sticks, a guy that goes on the field and they're searching for explosives, a guy that is an option route runner. So more so, I guess I'm trying to say is at corner or safety, you got to have those good and bad plays for you to grow and for you to be a guy that's being able to like stick around in the league. So yeah, it's all just a learning curve.
Shane's teams, you've been a part of them these last 2 years. You don't really see you guys getting blown out of games. There's these close finishes. As you reflect and knowing you're missing the playoffs again, like, what's your takeaway? Like, what's your thought process knowing why you can't close to some of these close games right now?
I think that's just the nature of the NFL of trying to close out. I think the best teams close out those. They can close out the most, close scoring games whenever it comes down to the stretch of, winning by 3 or winning by 1 or going to OT and finishing and having those extra snaps along the game and having that competitive endurance. The good teams finish it out and they finish it out the most. So, just having that competitive endurance and, that's just something that we just gotta, execute and work on and put a lot of energy in. So if we focus on that, our energy will flow into it as well. So that's just something that the Standard just has to be a part of, finishing those close-out games.
What's the finality of this day feel like when you know your season's over and there's no postseason?
It feels like the last day of school, and yeah, you're going home from there.
Last day of school, though, is usually a good thing.
Well, I think for right now, you can still have joyful, you can still have peace with certain things. Nothing that you always have to grieve about. Last night, looking at the film and having those hugs and you having those conversations on a plane and you have in a huddle when the game is over, but this game is still going. You have those like damn, like I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. You know what I mean? So it's not always about the storm. We know what it is of, we didn't meet our goals this year. We didn't meet it. So we're going to attack this all season and make sure you don't feel that feeling again. So, it doesn't have to cloud over you the entire offseason. You know what I mean? You just have certain moments where you do grieve and you do feel, sadness, but we're blessed. It's so much that we can be thankful for, and we're in a new year. You're healthy. Did you come out the season healthy? Okay, great. So many things that you can be thankful for. So you can still seek joy and peace in the storm.
This is a tough question maybe, but you have a core of veterans on this defense that you've been together with those brothers for a long time. The leadership is staying the same. Do you anticipate that group staying the same, or do you think?
I'm not the GM.
No, I know. Well, let me rephrase. I mean, do you hope that group stays intact and has another shot?
Look, we have some great guys. People first. These are guys that I can call in the off season. I can call at other areas in my life where, I want to have a conversation or I want to, experience with guys. So it's not so much. I don't have to be teammates with people to be like, oh, we have to, that's the only way we can bond and like we can be brothers. So, the NFL is going to be the NFL. It's always business. It's never personal. So, it is what it is in that standpoint. Would I love to be teammates with all these guys for the rest of my career? Yeah. I would love to help. I would love to be around, be able to give. So, but at the end of the day, there is a business that takes precedence. So, yeah.
Does the thought of your own future kind of creep into your mind at all, considering just the changes are possible?
Not really. No, not really. Where I'll be or if I'll finish my deal here, nah, not really. I got a lot of ball left in me. I'm confident in my game, confident in how I can help and be a leader amongst my game and someone else's, whether it's another veteran or younger player or how I'm able to help the coaching staff. I don't have any ill will. I feel like I could have, helped in certain ways this year or more ways, but, the season was the way it happened. So every season has its own story and its own narrative. So, and we'll make sure next year has its own as well.
Is there comfort in knowing that the GM and the coach are coming back and that's not hanging over this team at all?
Yeah, it's certain things you don't have to worry about. There's less things that you have to worry about, and you have that. You got that consistency of having those two people in those positions to lead the way. So those are things that players and other people around an organization doesn't have to worry about. So yeah, that's good.
What are your focuses for the off season? Have you thought about those?
Really, I mean, it excites me only because I know what I'm. I know the defense. I know kind of the people here and what's to come. Pretty kind of, but I mean, for me, it's really just growing stronger up top. Keeping my bend and stuff like that, and really just growing more. Smart in the game, physically, and really just so I can come back, better than I was this year.
How much experience, how much is the experience you got this year valuable in kind of learning how to throw your moves, when to throw change-ups, counters, all those things?
I mean, it definitely improved this year, and I have a lot of experience under my belt, knowing what I can expect from certain, players and in certain situations on the field and stuff like that. So really just knowing when I can cut it up and stuff like that was a big part in my growing this year, I'd say.
Was your injury yesterday anything significant, or you feel okay?
It's definitely a lot better this year. I'm be taking care of it, but that's all I know right now.
You did some good things this year for this team. As you reflect on this season, give me your takeaway and just what you thought about yourself and just being around your teammates here, what you were able to do this season.
Really, just being able to play with a group of guys like these, I love each and every one of them, and they make me better. Being able to grow from, the guys in the D-line as well as in the back end with us dropping and stuff like that, learning off of Pratt and Kenny and, dudes who really been back there and stuff like that. And when you see, our production, we're dropping, we're rushing, stuff like that, playing the run, I mean, for me, I grew a lot. So I was definitely, proud of myself in that way that, I know what I can expect and what I can get even better at in this offseason.
We talked to you a lot about the process and how hard you are on yourself. Was it hard to give yourself credit for some of the plays you made this year or anything like that when you evaluate everything because you always want more?
I mean, it definitely is hard knowing that, I have certain goals and, I want to be a certain player for this team and stuff like that. But, I mean, definitely looking back on it, I feel like, comparing it to last year definitely, makes me proud that I did a lot better this year, doubling my sacks, and then on top of that, getting interceptions and, defense that we're just learning. So, definitely, happy at, how I played for sure.
What does the offseason look like for you heading forward with training plans? Have you thought about what that will look like?
Really just growing. I know what I'm getting myself into. I know the defense, so I know what to expect. I know, how to train, how I can, change my workouts from last year and this year. So it just excites me. I can get, a whole lot better next year or this next season.
How much comfort do you take or seeing the continuity, knowing that your coach and the GM are not changing, the people who believed in you are still going to be here next year?
I mean, it definitely brings me comfort too. I mean, at the same time, whatever would have happened, I'd still be the same person I am, growing, continue to get better. But, I mean, it makes it easier for me going into the offseason knowing that these people are still here. I'm in a defense that I know now, and I can really grow, and tailor my offseason like how I want it.
We started off great. I think, I'm still trying to figure that out. It started off 8-2. Definitely the schedule was tougher down the stretch and had a lot of close games. Didn't pull any of them out, and that was just unfortunate. But I think it shows, we need to do a better job finishing. I think we had some unfortunate things happen to our team just in terms of injuries and players missing time. Big players that really banking on it, right? But that happens to everyone in the league. It's about being the next man up, stepping up, finding a way to win, finding a way to finish. So, yeah, definitely needed to be better on that. But it's in the past now.
Alec, you're going into a off-season, obviously, a chance to get paid and all of that. But how hands-on or hands-off will you be with that process? This is your first time going through it. And have you asked anybody for advice when it comes to free agency?
Yeah, I'll probably be pretty hands-off. I usually let my agents just do the work, and I'm sure I'll talk with some guys on the team, Pitt, DJ, stuff like that, guys who've been through it before. Just lean on them, hear what the process is like and kind of what's normal and whatnot. You know?
I know that
What's most
obviously the
important to
decision
you?
is in other people's hands ultimately, but I mean, do you feel like this is the place you want to be? I know that you and Daniel have a bond, that kind of thing. I mean, just
Yeah.
would that be your preference?
Yeah, no, I got great relationships here with this organization, with the people in this building, the city. You know, so they've done so much for me, so far. So, you know, I definitely would love to continue to be a part of this organization, and we'll see where things go.
Do you think this is going to work out? I mean, there will be teams interested in Alec Pierce. Let's be honest.
I don't know. I don't know how this all work out, but yeah, we'll see.
Is that exciting at all? Like, I don't know. Is it similar to probably you haven't been through it before, but like, I don't know, being recruited or whatever? Like, how do you?
Yeah,
view
it's definitely. I guess you'd say more like getting recruited because you actually have say now, and you have it's ultimately the decision. It's my decision now, so which is different, you know, than coming out when you get drafted, you get selected team. So yeah, that's what I think is probably the best feeling about it is like, you know, ultimately you get to make a decision that you think is right for you and right for your future.
You said it is ultimately your decision. I mean, what are your priorities in this process? Is it continuity here and the relationships you've built? Is it you know, the team that can offer you or does offer you the most money? Like what will weigh on your mind and help you make this decision?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I think I got to see it all laid out in front of me, and you know, there's so many different variables that go into that decision, and each. Yeah, so I think it's really hard to say like what the priorities are because I think, you know, you're looking at 50 different variables at each place, you know. So I think it's really hard to say that before you kind of know what you're comparing.
You guys always say control the controllables because a lot's is out of your control. Yeah. Isn't that what you did this year? You control what you can control and.
Yeah, like
performance-wise.
yeah, I'd like to say so. You know, I think I definitely left some plays out there, but just try to be consistent, try to be the player I know I can be and work to be. And you know, I think for the most part, I'm proud of my performance this year and doing what I could with you know, playing with different quarterbacks and kind of going through that type of adversity.
Yeah, you didn't just have it wasn't an easy road for you. I mean, they brought in competition for you, etc. As you reflect back on this year, what's your takeaway for you personally and why you had the success you had this year?
I think this year was great. I think I don't know. I just really enjoyed like being a part of the team and just the relationships I built with the guys. And I feel like Daniel at quarterback was a guy that I was like very, very close with and just very much so on the same page. So that kind of started the year off right with him, and then, you know, unfortunately he got hurt, and that happened. But I think that was definitely a big part of it.
Yeah, and you speak of DJ. We know it's out of your control. Who knows if you're gonna be back next year? But how important would it be for you to have him back here as your QB?
Oh, it'd be huge. You know, that would definitely be a big thing for getting me back here is having him here as quarterback. You know.
On this day, this locker cleanout day, knowing that this is your first offseason where you go into having a contract, like, does this day feel different than days like this in years past where you don't know if you're going to be back in here with a lot of these same teammates ever again?
Yeah, it's definitely different for sure. And I'll probably really actually got to clean out my locker and do some things. You know, years past I knew I was like, I'm going to be back here in March or April or whenever we get back before OTAs. So, you know, just going to say some goodbyes to people, and it's what we do every year though. It's not like a goodbye to the organization or anything, but that's the thing with this league. You just never know. You never know who's gonna be back here in April, right? So